Hey guys, this is Scott Horne, and this topic's going to talk a little bit about earnest money and assignment of contracts. So if you find this helpful, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to comment below. We'll look forward to answering those questions for you. So I just wanted to touch base briefly about the investor community, which we do so much of here at OFN National Escrow, and assignment of contracts, because investors tend to lose sight of what they're trying to do. So often the investor gets a house under contract. Oftentimes it's subject to the existing debt, and they want to assign that contract to a third party. Well, I always want that investor to be thinking, how did I structure my initial contract? Did I put up earnest money or not? Now, earnest money is there to hopefully, in most cases, bind the contract. It's there as an incentive for the seller to work with you. That's one reason why I like to use larger assignment fees if I have the ability to do that at least, to create that incentive with the seller. And they're to protect the seller in the event I default, that they get something for taking their house off the market or working with me for their time. Whatever it might be, it's there to help the seller and to secure the transaction. Investors will oftentimes get to contract, and then they want to assign that contract to a third party, of course, for a greater fee. We're seeing a lot of that in the marketplace right now. And so when that happens, though, the investor doing the assignment needs to make certain, what was it I put up initially, if anything? Because when you assign a contract, you're assigning the entire contract, including the earnest money. So if the earnest money in the contract that you put up as the investor is going to be transferred to your back-end assignee, you need to make certain you're getting compensated for that up front so you don't lose those dollars. So you may want to consider making certain that if you put up $1,000 of earnest money, that the assignee gives you $1,000 at execution, because they're getting the right to retain that earnest money in the initial contract. Then you get your additional assignment upon closing. Now you can also negotiate to get your entire assignment fee at the time of execution. I don't necessarily like that, because anything can happen. The seller could elect to walk away, and the back-end assignee is stuck getting into a lawsuit to try and get their earnest money back from somebody out there. And you want to try to prevent that if possible. So when you're assigning that contract, be very specific in how you're doing things. Maybe you want to put a provision into your contract that stipulates that if the seller fails to consummate the contract, the earnest money is automatically released to the buyer upon request of the buyer, whether that's the initial investor or the back-end assignee. Or it could be a vice versa clause, which might be there to protect the seller more as well. If you're having the back-end investor put up earnest money that is going to take the place of anything you put up, if anything, as the initial middle investor, make sure you identify what that is actually going to be used for. How else will a closing agent know what that money is for? If you have an initial contract with earnest money between the seller and the middle investor, that's easily identifiable. But what is earnest money between the assignor and assignee being used for? Is that being used to secure the initial contract, or is it just the assignment only? And so learning how to be specific in your documents is very, very important. And how that money is handled will help the closing agent know who to obtain releases from in the event of a default and the closing doesn't occur. So learn to be smart, word your contracts and your assignments properly, understand the flow of money and how these deals work. It'll make your transactions go better, especially when you're working on an assignment of contract. So guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and don't forget to make any comments below. We'll do our best to answer those for you. We'll see you guys next time.